One, two. Oh, there we go. Okay. Right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tommy Reynolds, and I'm a portrait and wedding photographer based in Kent. And today, we're going to be doing a demo all about using only one light. I'm going to show you that using only one light, you can create all sorts of various different ways that you can control that light. We're going to be using a variety of different modifiers, from softboxes to the beauty dish and a standard 7-inch reflector. Some of the most iconic images that you have seen have been created using only one light. And you really do not need to have multiple lights to have a professional look. You really don't. You really can create beautiful images using only a single light. So, now I'm not going to be able to do this alone. I've got the wonderful Tegan. Tegan, come on, thank you very much. If you want to follow Tegan, it's Tegan Elizabeth 3 on Instagram. She's going to be helping us out today. So, what are we using? So the light that we're using today is the Godox AD600 Pro. This is one of my favourite strobes. What I love about it, obviously the power is great, but also it has a great modelling light as well. Really helpful if you are in a darker environment to see exactly how those shadows are going to fall and hit your model's face. So it's really great for that. We're going to start off with using the 150cm easy open softbox, one of my favourite modifiers, a great go-to modifier if you don't already own this one. This is a really great one when you are in controlled studio environments. So let's kick things off. Now, in terms of positioning, so where do we start? Where do we put the softbox? How high does it need to go? What's a good starting point? So a good starting point, I like to say, for positioning your softbox is if we go to the model's eye line, so we're thinking of a nice height. So if I go to the model's eye line, and what I want to do is I want to aim, ideally, for the model's eye line to be the bottom of the softbox. That, for me, is a nice sweet spot to start with as well. So if I can see Tegan's eye line there, okay, then that's going to be, for me, a nice starting point. All right, we're at approximately 45-degree angle. I'm going to angle it down just slightly. I need to bring it back down because I have short toes. Okay, so let's take a test shot. So I do have a light meter, but we're just going to eyeball it for this one. Okay, Tegan, so if you slightly look this way for me, like that. And just as I'm about to take a shot, of course, we get some tether issues. This is live, that's always the way. Okay, I think we're back. Okay, let's take a test shot. Let's see what we're looking at. So we're approximately 45-degree angle, looking slightly this way for me, Tegan. That's it, hold that. Okay, so if we now zoom into that, so we have a look at the catch light. So it's not a bad starting point. Okay, let me go to develop module, that will help. And zoom in. Okay, so if we look at the catch light, we can see it's in a really lovely position. So if you get in the softbox to that approximate height, it's going to give you a really nice starting point. I don't really want that any lower. If that was lower, then it wouldn't look really kind of natural. We're obviously very used to being lit from above, looking down. If you're lit from below, it looks kind of Halloween-y or noir. Those are the only times you can really get away with it. But for me, this is a nice starting point. Now, how can we control this further? So using only one light, let's see what happens. So Tegan, same sort of pose, but you're going to now look directly at me. And just by having Tegan turning towards me front on, we're going to create more contrast in the face. So I've not changed anything, I've not changed my position, the softbox is still where it is, but this time Tegan's just going to look towards me. So we take a mental note what's on screen now, and then we now look at the face. So we see all Tegan's done is just move her face from there to here. Just that tiny little movement can help create more contrast in the face without you having to change the modifier or put a grid or anything like that. So one really simple and quick way. Now, let's just say I want to darken that background even more, but I don't have the space to bring Tegan away from the background. The way you can do that is feathering your light. If you've not heard that term before, the way you feather the light is bring it away from your model towards camera. So if we look from the side here, from you guys can see a better view. It almost doesn't really look like it's hitting Tegan now. It's kind of coming this way, so we're kind of missing it. But what we're doing there is we're feathering the light. That's now going to wrap around Tegan a little more, but in turn, it's also going to darken the background. So this is a really nice tip if you don't have the space to move back. So let's take another shot, compare it from there. So Tegan looking towards me, that's lovely. Hold that 1 and 2. So we see we've evened out the background and we've made that a touch darker. So if we feather it even more, and the effect will just keep going. So we do that once more for Tegan. That's it. So made that background even darker. And I've hardly moved the rotation of that softbox, going from just here to here. So if you want to make that background darker, that's a nice, quick and simple technique. Dom, can I have the V flats, please? Now, what's another way we can control our light? Let's bring that back here. Okay, I'm going to bring it back to our starting point. And then we'll just take one so we've got something to compare it to. That's lovely, Tegan. Slightly looking towards this way, towards light. That's it, hold that. Okay, so we're back to our starting point. Now, how can we control this further? So, one of the things you're going to see quite heavily in this demonstration is Pixel Pro's V-flats. These are 1 by 2.4, I believe. So we've got a black side and a white side. So we can use this to create positive and negative fill. I'm going to start by using the white side. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the unlit side of Tegan's face. So we've got light coming from this way, and what's going to happen is it's going to bounce into this white-sided V-flat, and it's going to bounce light back into Tegan. And this is going to then just allow us to control the contrast just that little bit more. So if we hold that, so about here. Okay, so we take a mental note on what's on screen right now. And we do the same again, so Tegan slightly this way for me. That's lovely, hold that 1, 2. Okay, so you see that? Boom. Now it kind of looks like we've introduced a second light there, but we haven't. We're still using only one light, but it's just lifted those shadows just a little bit more on that unlit side of the face. Really, really great tip if you want to just control that light just that little bit further, still using only one light. Consequently, if you want to make this even more moodier and dramatic, what we could do is we could then turn it around and use it as negative fill. So this is obviously going to create the opposite effect and create even more contrast into the face. Once more again, Tegan, 1, 2. So now we can see we've totally lost that. We've totally lost that. So we've created even more drama. So if you want to create more drama, then having negative fill close into the unlit side of the face is a really great tip. This will probably work really nicely in black and white as well, because we're adding even more contrast to the image. Okay, I'm going to switch it up and try a different modifier, another modifier that I really enjoy using, which is the beauty dish. Dom, can you hand me the beauty dish? I'm going to take this one off. So this was if you just joined us, that was a 150 centimeter easy open softbox. Oh, sorry, 2 seconds, Dom. I've forgotten to set up. I'm going to go back actually. I'm going to stick with the 150. Just keeping you on your toes, Dom. Okay, what I'm going to do actually, so Tegan, if you take a step up, we're going to move the set forward a little bit more. I'm just going to put it here, and we're going to actually, 2 seconds, I'm going to put this time I'm going to put the softbox behind Tegan. Here we go, here we go, here we go. That's it, Tegan, if you just seat yourself back down. So what we really want to be doing to create the effect, I'm going to get, actually Tegan, I might ask you to stand just for this one, just because I can't bring the C-stand down any more than that. Okay, so I'm going to get you to stand directly in front of the modifier. Okay, we might have to come into the crowd for this one. I'm just going to see if I can cheek and lower it down just a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to backlight Tegan. So this time we're going to use it behind and it's going to wrap around Tegan. And it's hopefully going to create a silhouette effect. So because we're going to create a silhouette effect, Tegan, if I can ask you to turn to the side, so it's all going to be about just the shape of the body. You can, and maybe with the arms, you can bring the arms up just so that we can see the shape of your arms as well. Let's just take a test shot. Let's try bringing this arm here, kind of behind here. That's it. Yes. Lovely. Hold that there. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, just take a test shot. We haven't metered this. So we've got a nice silhouette effect, but how can we make this even better? How can we almost create a high key effect? So I'm going to bring in the second V flat, if that's called and what we're going to do is, sorry, I might obscure a lot of people's vision just for this one setup, but what we're going to do is we're going to introduce the white sides again, but this time they're going to be in front of Tegan. And what's hopefully going to happen is that light is going to come out, bounce, hit the white sides of the V flats, back into Tegan to create hopefully a high key effect, he says. Again, we're still using only one light. We're still using the 150 centimeter easy open softbox. And we're just basically clamshell Tegan in from both sides. Okay, so let's take a test shot. I might need to increase my power, but let's take a test and see what we're doing. Okay, take a fraction step to your right for me, Tegan. That's it, hold that there. Actually, this time you're going to look directly at me. So because this isn't going to be a silhouette now, so you can look directly at me. That's it. Hold that. 1, 2. Okay, I feel that. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm going to bring the power down a touch more. So I want that to stay white, but obviously I don't want it too kind of dull and grey. That's lovely, Tegan. Okay, I think I was actually better where I was. Lovely. Okay, now let's just pop a few here. Lovely. Every time you hear it, that's it. Lovely. Hold that. And eyes back to me. That's it. Chin down for me. Hold that. Hold that. Beautiful. Love that. Okay, so that's one way we can create a really nice high key effect. Let me move this one out of the way just so people can see. So how can we now? Let's try something else. Let's now almost do the opposite effect. So this time, Tegan, you're going to take a step forward, and I'm now going to put the black side and the modifier behind you. And then now, Tegan, you're going to stand in front of the black side. And what effect we're trying to create again is now we're going to hopefully wrap that light around the side. So I've intentionally chosen the 150 centimeter softbox because it's just coming out of here slightly. So hopefully it's going to come out and wrap around Tegan just to give us a nice rim effect. It's almost going to be not silhouette, but we're going to just have almost like we're having two rim lights lighting Tegan. So let's try that. I think I'm going to need to crank the power a little bit more, but again, let's just eyeball this. Even I can't see the screen. Sorry, folks. I'll take a quick shot and then we can move it out of the way. Okay, and look into the side this time for me, Tegan. That's it. Lovely. Hold that. Beautiful. Okay, yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Let me just move that out the way real quick so everyone can see. So we can see, looking at the image, it almost looks like there's two lights being used for a nice rim light effect, and it almost looks like we've got a black background, so we've saved on cost there, no seamless black background there. All just using the V flats, so they not only can be used to control the light, but they can also be used as props as well. Let's try just doing one more thing here before we move the modifier. I'm going to move this one back where it was, get almost the same thing, almost the same thing again. And now let's have the white side of V flat. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to put the white side here so that the light coming through this side is going to hopefully kick the white side here and hit Tegan here, so we light up, just fill in a little bit of the shadows this side. Thank you so much, Dom. Lovely. Right. Again, we're just using only one light. One light, and the V-flats are being featured very heavily. But they're so good, they're so versatile. Okay, Tegan, you're going to be looking to the side like we did before, sorry folks. And then take a step this way, and then take a step backwards. So another tip, the closer the model is to the black background, the more that light will wrap around. The further they are away, then the less they're going to be wrapped around. So that's why I just a moment ago just asked Tegan to step back, so that she's closer to that black background, giving her more of a chance to be wrapped around by that light. But now we are adding this white V-flat to hopefully kick a little bit more. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sorry, folks. Oh, I think it's bending. Alright, we'll give this one more attempt. If not, I've got a spare. And Gavin's got his one as well on hand. Oh, I think we're back, Gavin. Okay. I swear I'm going to buy a tether block after this, Gavin. I'm so sorry. I've got a jerk stopper, but... Okay, let's try again. Same again for me, Tegan. This time looking towards the white for me. That's it. Take a little step towards it for me. That's it. Hold that. Lovely. Hold that. Okay, and then a baby step backwards this way again. Sorry. That's it. Good. Lovely. Okay, and then we move that out just so we can show. Okay, I'm done with this now. Let's just move them out of the way so that everyone can see. I might need them again, just so I can just show the folks. Okay, so if we now compare that with, so that was without the white side, and that's with the white side. So it kind of looks like we're using multiple lights, but we're just using one light and using the V-flats to really control that light. It's so important. Okay, so let's try something different. How are we doing for time, Dom? Oh, I've got loads of time. Okay, lovely. All right, let's keep going then. So well, I'm going to change it up now from the 150 softbox to a beauty dish. So what's the difference? This is a 55 centimeter beauty dish with a grid. We'll get to the grid later. But the characteristics of a beauty dish versus a softbox, as you can see on a beauty dish, we have this this smaller dish inside this big bowl. That dish, what's really great about that is that light is going to hit that dish, bounce back into the bowl, and then come back out. And because of that, we're going to avoid that hot spot that we're going to get on the face, because it's going to bounce here first and then wrap around. So you won't really use this to feather like you would on a softbox to avoid that hot spot. On here, you can point it directly at the model, and that's when you're going to get the best quality of light from this. And because it's a silver, you can get silver and white. Personally, I like the silver. It creates a little bit more contrast, more specular highlights, and also because it's silver, it's going to reflect light more, which means that you don't have to have your power as high with a silver one versus a white one, which is always great if you are using strobes that aren't as powerful. They're not working as hard because you're using the silver side. Little tip there, always opt, in my opinion, for the silver. Sorry, I touched my mic. Always opt, in my opinion, for the silver versus the white. Let's see how it looks. All right. Okay, I'm going to go overhead this time. So we've come from the side with the softbox. Now we're going to go overhead. Okay, if you want to grab that seat, Tegan, if you want to make yourself comfortable while I just spend the next 30 seconds getting this all ready. Okay. So we're using it's not a boom arm, is it? I keep calling it a boom arm. Grip arm, it's a grip arm. So booms extend and grips do that, okay. So this is really helpful when you want to go completely overhead like this, so that we're not obviously having the light stand right in our shot, so it's really helpful. So let's, Tegan, can you park your chair a little bit further back for me, so So the reason I asked Tegan to do that is because I want to illuminate the background as well as her. So that was why I just then intentionally, having known how to control one light, is knowing that I can bring her back and knowing that that's going to illuminate both her and the background. If I'd have photographed her just then when she was in front of me, then it wouldn't have photographed the background as much. But I want to illuminate both because I am using only one light. So we're going to get the most out of it. All right. Now, starting point for a beauty dish. We spoke about the softbox, how that we use the model's eye line. For a beauty dish, I like to ask the model, so Tegan, if you can hold your arm out so that you can just touch the beauty dish. That for me is a good starting point. Now again, I said the beauty dish, the best quality of light is when it's pointing directly, at Tegan. Okay, so let's take a test shot and see what we're looking at. I can feel your look, Kevin. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now again, because of the AD600 Pro, it's got a lovely modding light, so I'm able to see exactly how those shadows are going to fall before I've even taken the photograph. So let's take a test shot. I'm going to guess this is going to come out a little bit too bright, so I'm turning down the... let's tether up again. So for those of you that just joined us, we're using the AD600 Pro and the beauty dish. That's the 55cm beauty dish. And we're using only one light to create all sorts of various different creative results. So this is also very popular with fashion editorial work because it creates that lovely specular highlight to the images. It's been one of my favourite modifiers that I've used in recent times because of just the quality that it creates. Gavin, I might need your replacement cable. This is what happens when you do things live.
Good maintenance of cables, Gavin. Nice rat's nest.
Thank you, sir. We are filming this, but we can cut this out, right, Sam? You're not gonna be that mean to me. I've been nice to you this morning. That's the beauty of editing, is that it makes everyone look great. So. Yeah. Okay. Let's. We're there. Okay, I've not even got a jerk stopper in this now, so don't move, don't breathe. Okay, Tegan, here we go. Okay, much too bright. Let me go down. Okay, so I'm actually at 1/128th power, so very... Oh, is that all coming through? Okay. No worries. So we're at 1/128th power. Sorry folks, just gonna, what can you do? So at 1/128th power, and you can see even at 1/128th power, it's giving us a lovely specular highlight to the shot. Let me zoom in there. And again, if we want to control that, if we want to illuminate the background, because at the moment it's not illuminating that much, so what we can do instead is, Tegan, we can park you back, so if you bring the chair and move it backwards. Try it one more time? Oh, okay. Oh, let's give this one a go. So let's talk about so Tegan's moved backwards now. Now if I now take another shot, it's not going to be bright enough. I know that because the light hasn't changed. But what is going to happen is if I do compensate and increase the exposure in the strobe, it's going to light up not only Tegan, but it's also going to light up more of that background as well. So if I take another test shot, oh, I think we're back. Is it coming through? Yeah, it's coming through. Okay, great, lovely. And I've lost it. Okay. Okay, so if you saw the previous image, you can now see the background is much more brighter. No, you can't. Brilliant. Okay, now we can see that the background is way brighter in this image. And we can see that the highlights just look really lovely because, again, the characteristics of that is the beauty dish. When you have the beauty dish, it creates that really lovely specular highlights in not only the face, but also the background. You can see why this is so popular in editorial and fashion work. All right, let's try one more thing. I mentioned the grid. So why would you use a grid? So grid is great for channeling that light forward. So if you were in an environment where you've got white walls near you and you don't want that light to spill onto the white, then you would use a grid. This is great for channeling that light forward. So if I do this, so the folks that are dead center in front of me, you can see me right now, but if I turn, now you can't see me. So that's the direction of the light, that's what's happening. So by doing this, it's completely cutting out light going left and right, it's only going forward. So let's take a shot with this on and see what the difference is. Now what you will find is when you use a grid, it will cut out some of that light, so I will have to compensate and turn the brightness up a little bit more. So I'm going to just go maybe 1 stop of power. Okay, let me see if you can hold that. All right. So if I compare those two images, you can see how adding the grid really cuts out that light and channels it forward massively. All I've done is added a grid, nothing else. I've not adjusted the exposure, I've not changed the modifier, I've not changed my position. It's all exactly the same. All I've done is just added a grid. And that's what I love about the Beauty Dish and any modifier that comes with grids, is that it almost feels like you've got 2 different modifiers in one, and you can create 2 different looks very quickly, especially when you add a grid to a Beauty Dish. 5 minutes. Okay, let's try something. Let's try something very different. I'm going to swap to one more modifier this time. I'm going to use a standard 7-inch reflector. So I'm going to use one of these, and Dom, we're going to create that slit effect with the V-flats. So I'm going to use the standard 7-inch reflector with a grid on, and what I want to do is I want to try and create a slit of light, and we're going to again use the V-flats to create that shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that on, and we're going to position the V-flats where there's just a tiny gap on show. So I'm now going to move this into the corner over here. And then we're going to then create a very small gap. Position the light directly in the middle so that it's going to come through and hit Tegan. And Tegan, let's have you almost up against the background without pulling it down. That's about there. Cool. Lovely. So I've created a tiny little gap through the middle here, and that's going to almost be my new modifier, if you like. Imagine a modifier is that thin and tall. I'm just using a standard 7-inch reflector with the V-flats that we've been using for the rest of the demo. And just looking for my camera, there it is. Okay, so if you another tip, if you are doing this and you are in a bright environment like this, I mean, it would be helpful if they turn the lights off, but I don't think they're going to do that for me. So instead, I'm just going to hit the test button, and we can see roughly where it's going to hit when I do take a shot. So at least I can roughly position Tegan to a position that's going to get me, not necessarily to the front door, but might get me to the neighbourhood. We'll tweak it. We'll tweak it. Okay, Tegan, let's take a test shot. Okay. Hold that. Okay, I'm going to crank up the power a little bit more. I'm at 1/16th power now, and I'm going to go even higher actually to 1/8 just for a good measure. Okay, now have you looking directly at me for me? That's it. Hold that. And looking towards the light, through the light there. Beautiful. And once more. And once more looking at me. Okay, lovely. Put you on the link. Okay. Can you zoom in so everyone can see? Okay. So, again, we're just using one light. Standard 7-inch reflector, but we're using the V-flats that we've been using for the whole demo. So if you are thinking of getting the V-flats, as we've demonstrated, they can be very versatile. Not only to bounce light, not only as negative fill, but also to use them to help shape your light as well. Now if you have just joined us, if you did miss the beginning of the demonstration, then you are able to go on to this QR code so that you can, if you do scan this QR code, you'll be able to see all the lighting setups that we have done here today. As I say, we've been using the V-flats. These are 1 meter by 2.4 meter. The strobe we've been using today is the AD600 Pro with the Beauty Dish 55, the 7-inch reflector and the 150. All the details are in the QR code. We do also have some flyers here. Please do take a flyer away with all of the equipment that I've used here today. And obviously we do have all of the amazing folks here at Essential Photo who can assist you with any questions that you might have about not only today's gear, but anything that you've seen so far today. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you very much to Tegan. Thanks so much for listening, folks. I'm Tommy Reynolds. Thank you. Take care.